Welcome back. It's been a little while, I know, since my last video. Frankly, that's because MoFi haven't released a new Ultradisc for some time, and that seems to be something I'm kind of falling into. I know the last one was the Cafe Blue, the Patricia Barber, which was an awesome record. And anyway. So, they have released a new one, and what is it? Well, it's this Blood, Sweat and Tears self-titled album, their second album, released on the 1st of January 1969. And I'll be brutally honest with you, it's not an album I know that well. It's not an album I'd really heard, even. I'd never even bothered listening to it before, very recently. So I'd only heard it before hearing this in a digital format, at least the whole album. I've heard tracks before now in other formats, but yeah, there we go. So what made me buy this one? Well, frankly, the quality of everything else I've got. And this came out, this was next up, and I thought, well, hell, because there are some titles that have come out on this label that I mean, they all come out and then they're bloody well discontinued almost immediately. I mean, there are 6,000 copies of made for the whole world. This is number 4,980. So, there aren't many. They're expensive, but they sell, and they're going to sell out really quickly. And there's a few of these, notably the Dylan, the Santana, the Simon and Garfunkel, which I don't have, which I bloody well wish I do. Seriously regret that now. And the prices are romping up on them. So there we go. So this one. Okay, so it's an album that came out 1969, 1st of January. An album I don't know an awful lot about, but which kind of, it did prompt me to get it. So let me just run you through what you get, and I'll tell you a little bit about it. I'm not going to go rambling on and on and on, because frankly most of you will know a lot more about this than me. So here we go. What we get first in the box, a couple of really nice quality photographic images, really nice, of the band. I don't know the band that well. One thing I will say, this guy here, Jim Fielder, I think it is, check my notes. Where did I put my notes on this? Jim Fielder, I'm sure it is. Basically he played in The Mothers of Invention, which to me is kind of quite critical. And then this guy at the back here, this is the singer, David Clayton Thomas. He kind of sounds a bit, it's funny. If you imagine a cross between Stephen Stills and sort of Justin Hayward, actually Moody Blues, quite odd. But anyway, he can flip and switch. Anyway, some nice photos. And then this is a reproduction of the album cover. And that's the band with all their names, so you can tell who is who. So I say we've got James Fielder there. Steve Katz, he sings one of the songs. Guitarist. Where's the drummer? The drummer is Bobby Colomby. The drumming on the whole band actually is it's quite something. It really is. Anyway, and then these Mobile things. You get 2 records, each in their own sleeves. That's the bottom of the box with another piece of foam. I'll come back to this. So 2 LPs, 45 RPM, and they are pressed. Well, first of all, they've got double covers, really good stiff quality card. Double covers just to keep everything absolutely beautiful and flat and in pristine condition. And then the vinyl themselves. Now, I have played this and I have cleaned it and I've demagnetized it as part of my normal process. So this is not a fresh unboxing, but clearly they come out pristine. They're brand new records. This has been played once now, just this morning. So there we go. I don't know if you can see this. Let me see. It's a nice bright sun today. Can you see me through there? I don't know. I don't think you see my white t-shirt through there. Anyway, They are not crystal clear. Sorry, they're not opaque. They're kind of it sort of looks like a smoky sunglasses material, you know, that grey kind of sunglass material. I mean, if I look at, I can read my notes through that, you know. So my notes, I mean, you know, my notes take some my handwriting, bloody hell. Anyway, the fact I can read those through a record, that's kind of quite something. So what does it say here? It says here, look, I'm going to read through this. Zappa-esque, a bit ELP-ish, a bit King Crimson-y, very early Yes. Bass, who is that fab sound? Very funky. Organ, keys, fab 2. So funky, so well recorded. I mean, that's the thing about this record. It is so. Okay, go back. It's an astonishing record. It's astonishing. I mean, it really is astonishing record. Is it my favourite music in the world ever? No. Is it bad music? No. There's nothing wrong with it at all, to be honest. But it's the sound quality of this is just, it's absolutely on another level. It's on another planet. Now, let me just run through this again. I'm going to put these away because it's very sunny here and I don't want sunshine bearing down on my new records. So I'm just going to put those out of the way in the shade. So, Mobile Fidelity Ultradiscs. They're not the only people that do that, as we talked about with this Cafe Blue in my last video. But one step. So in a normal record making process, you start with, say, the master tape. Play that to the lathe, and the lathe cuts the lacquer, which would be like a metal plate with a lacquer, a very thin layer of some kind of soft-ish stuff on it that the cutting stylus can cut. And that's typically kind of electroplated to make it sort of hard. And then a mould is taken from that, and the lacquer is pulled out from within that. The lacquer is then destroyed. And you have a negative mould. That's the father. So that's the first moulding process. And then from the father, you probably make a series of mothers. That's the second moulding process. And then from the mother, you'll make a series of stampers. That's the third process. And then from each stamper, you'll make a run of records. And that's the fourth. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 different moulding processes, plus a cut. Now, on the Ultradisc process, master tape, cut to a lacquer. That is then used to make what they call a convert, which you could say is the same as the father, because it is, basically. Difference here is they don't, from the father, then make a mother, then make stampers, then make the record. They just go from convert, or father, straight to pressing your vinyl. Now that cuts out half the production process, basically, in terms of moulding. And each time you mould something, if you try and, if you mould anything, just press a piece of blue tack onto a penny, or I don't know if you get blue tack in the States, but just try and take a mould, look at it, take a mould from the mould, look at that, take a mould from the mould again, look at that. Each time you lose detail, there's just absolutely no question that happens, and that's what happens in making records, and so these are, you could say twice as good, because there's half the processes, half the losses in moulding. And that's just the start. The vinyl quality that they press on, this super vinyl, which I've already shown you, being semi-transparent and absolutely pure and really thick. I think they're 200 gram lumps of vinyl. It's there's just less noise all round. So the end result is exceptional. I genuinely believe they're the best records you can buy. Short of playing an acetate or a lacquer, which you can do, but it's a kind of a one-off thing. Once you've played it, you ruin it. So let's not bother with that. Short of that, these are as good as you get. So for not, sound quality wise, high fidelity wise, these are just stunning. So let's go back to this again. And I mean, let's just talk a little bit about the sound quality and the band and the performance. I mean, I would liken this to, well, what would I call it? What would I call it? As I say, I'm not, this has escaped me for 50 years, basically. I've not listened to it. There's only so many records you listen to for some goddamn reason. You get things in your head and you think, oh, I'm not going to like that. I remember for 35 years of my life, I hadn't actually heard the Grateful Dead, and I kind of thought the Grateful Dead, Hells Angels, bikers, skulls, skeletons, it's all going to be a bit heavy and couldn't be further from the truth, Anyway, blood, sweat and tears. Got no idea what I expected this to be. And I absolutely love it. And how would I describe it? Well, you look on the internet, most places describe it as jazz rock. Well, yeah, it's jazz, definitely. And yeah, it's rock, definitely. I'd go a bit further than that. I would kind of say it's jazz prog, let us say. I mean, I just made that up, obviously, but it's kind of that's a sort of thing I would use to describe bands like Caravan or Zappa. I wouldn't only describe Zappa as jazz prog, but I would describe him as jazz prog. It's, I mean, so what's prog? I mean, prog, it's kind of it's complex. It's more, the arrangements of things that are sort of. It's kind of got classical influences in its structure and arrangements and outlook and openness to new kind of, there's an interesting sound effect, So, you could even say that Sgt. Pepper's was approaching progginess, This is, without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, the record starts, it opens with Eric Satie classical piece played on guitar and flute with the lightest little sort of cymbal percussion touches going on in the background. That's just it's quite mind-blowing that they're just so beautifully recorded, yet they're so tiny there. And then it just moves into the next track. So here we go. Side one, variations on a theme by Eric Satie, first and second movements. Then you've got Smiling Faces, which is kind of an out-and-out rocker, and that's one that's sung by Steve Katz, I think it is. I'll just double check this. I think so, but anyway, I might be wrong. But it's just mega funky, really funky. And then you got More and More, is it next? So Smiling Faces, Sometimes in Winter, then More and More, When I Die, God Bless the Child. That's the whole of this. Now, I mean, kind of sit there listening to it, and you will be blown away by the sound quality. And there's the thing, when you've got, bass. Let me talk about bass. The bass playing on this, it's a guy called Jim Fielder. Let me check. Sure it is. And frankly, I don't really know him. Don't know what he's played on before. But looking up on Tinternet, I found out he played he played with Zappa, basically. And that, you can, I think you can hear that. The bass is one of the most prominent instruments throughout the record. It's there all the way through. I mean, bass kind of is. It's sort of part of the rhythm section, bass and drums. Bass and drums on this. And we've got to talk about the drums too, because you just sat there and you've got your loudspeakers in front of you, and the drums just roll as if the kit is in front of you, rolls from left to right, right to left, left to right. Each drum, the snare, the toms, blocks, cymbals, all sorts of things. Everything just sounds so natural, so right, so appropriately dynamic. And the bass is there in the middle. Thundering along. I mean, honestly, you hear every single bass note on this entire album, I would suggest. And it's weighty bass, and it's fast bass, and it's tuneful bass, funky bass, and a kind of a combination of that bass weight and precision the drumming precision and fluidity to the drumming. And then you add the kind of other elements of this band, and you've got organ. I mean, this was maybe 69, so before synths, keyboards really kind of took off. So you've got pianos and organs back then, really, pretty much. And many times the organ is mixed very, very, very subtly. And then you've got horns or brass or wind instruments. You've got a flute in there too, so it's not all brass, and but it's there's a wind section, horn section, whatever you want to call it, and the kind of and then guitars obviously, but the kind of dynamic snap when you get like a drum beat, bass, guitar, and then the horn just blast, blam, it's phenomenally dynamic. It's almost it's staggering. It's staggering. I mean by the time I was listening to it, I was looking at my notes. By the time I got to More and More, I mean it's which is track 4. I mean I'll say I'll run through. I mean track 3, Sometimes in Winter. That's the one with Steve Castle vocals. It's really, really kind of moody bluesish. It feels like it's very proggy, very beautiful, very kind of pastoral. Beautiful, beautiful song. And then More and More, which is the 4th track. It's just it reminds me of Still's first album. Now that was, I think it's the same year, following year, not sure, around the same time. And Still's is a massive favourite of mine. Real kind of gospely, bluesy rock voice, and you kind of get that here, but it's just, the music is very similar too. It's kind of got this gospely, it's got this huge, massively joyous, powerful kind of energy to it. That's just it's really quite mind-blowing. I mean, More and More, it's just this gospely groove, wailing vocals, just everything, the way it fits together, it's explosive. And then you go into When I Die, which is like, it starts off with this haunting harmonica, and then just the huge humour, as you've sort of got this oompa band almost playing a sort of a pastiche, sort of, there's definitely humour in there. It's wonderful. And then I mean, actually, the very first song I heard off of this album many years ago, many years ago, way before I ever first heard the album, was You Make Me So Very Happy, I'm so glad you stepped into my life, or came into my life, whatever. It's on side 2. Just, it's a bit cheesy really, but it's beautiful, and Spinning Wheel, I mean, what an amazing song. What an amazing song. And then the whole of side 4, Blues Part 2. Well, it closes with the again with the Eric Sharty, but it's God, it's a stunning record. It really is. It's a stunning sounding record. Not in any way disappointing, and it's got to be said. It's kind of one of the best sounding records you'll ever hear, frankly. Stunning production, stunning arrangement, stunning mix, stunning recording. I mean, the way the impact and the leading edge transients on everything really. But I mean, if you think a horn section, that's got a real kind of like blam, kind of a leading edge, and you kind of capture that, really get it really kind of in phase and tight with the bass and the drums. And the drums are really well recorded, but there's a natural kind of loose flow to the drums. It's not mechanical in any way. It's great playing, it's just the organs. Everything about it. Everything about it is just it's stunning. So I'm gonna keep. Okay, so cut this one quite short. As I say, it's not an album that I hasn't been in my repertoire for long at all. Heard various tracks of it maybe 20, 30 years ago. You Make Me So Very Happy being the first one I heard. Spinning Wheels is another favourite. But some of the songs, I mean, some of the songs I really didn't know until just, not long ago, frankly. And I got it in a digital format, certainly. But it is a magnificent piece of recording. It's a magnificent piece of playing. It's a magnificent piece of arrangement, mixing, and production. And it's not my favourite album in the whole world, but as a piece of work, it is staggeringly good. And as a piece of recorded work, as a piece of playing, performing, recording, engineering, mixing, production, mastering, and then making a record for you to play on your record player. Doesn't get much better than this, folks. It really doesn't. There we go. Blood, Sweat and Tears. Original master recording, Ultradisc, one-step pressing by Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab. And I got this copy from David at Brook Audio, and I would recommend this to anybody, frankly. Absolutely recommend it to anybody. If you don't know the album, most of you clearly will. It was a very, very popular album back in the day. Went over my head. I missed it. Passed me by for some goddamn reason. I don't know why. I just never really heard it. But it's stunning. So most of you will know it. And if you know it, then I would think you probably already ordered this, frankly. If you don't know it, just go on Spotify or Tidal or something. Have a quick listen, because you'll get it pretty damned early on what a phenomenal mix and arrangement and recording this is. You can get that. It's obvious over digital formats. It really is. And if that wets your whistle, so to speak, then go buy one while they're still there, because they ain't going to be around long. Anyway, that's enough for me for now. Hope you have a good rest of the day. I think I'm going to go and play this again. And I will catch up with you all soon. Take care now. Stay safe. Bye for now. Bye.